Hello.
Oh, hello. It's our friends from last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
I love
sorry.
it.
As usual,
Welcome
it's
back.
Glenn with the question.
I love
Um,
it.
yes,
Grateful.
so grateful for two things. Since we did DB Live, it's really changed our mindset towards
Oh,
things. So that's really good. But
that's awesome.
today, our neighbour had a blocked drain, and we had some big burly men come round and unblock it,
They were
which is a
amazing.
miracle.
They were
Great.
so amazing. The most horrible job in the world.
So yeah, very grateful for that.
That's great.
The question is, I have I have my course in my head,
Hmm.
basically, and I kind of know the direction I want to go in, and I haven't started developing the course or the messaging.
Okay.
But how long do you think I should think about having, starting the process of launching, and how long is too long to be sort of doing those things at the same time? Because I felt like I could sort of start to launch it with bits of information and
Yeah.
develop the messaging while I'm going.
Hmm.
But how long would be too long to exhaust potential, customers?
No such thing. There's no such thing as too long. No one's paying attention. They're really not, and I say that with love. I'm not saying they're not paying attention to you. I'm saying to all of us. Nobody's paying attention. No one's keeping tabs on our content. Nobody remembers what we post today. Nobody remembers what we posted yesterday. Nobody cares what we posted 20 days ago. That's why repurposing content is so important, because literally no one's taking notes on like, oh, she posted that 3.5 weeks ago and now she's saying it again. So the messaging, as we talked about at the beginning of the call, it's not somewhere you're going to arrive. It's not a destination that you land on and you can't check it off your to-do list. So by nature, you're always going to be working on messaging. Every piece of content that you put out is you practicing messaging. It's you getting closer and closer to the target, or the bullseye, I should say. Every email you put out, every time you talk on social media, every time you speak on a podcast, you're getting closer to the target. You get better and better at saying what you're saying and how you're saying it and who you're saying it to and why you're saying it. So the messaging is going to constantly be evolving as you are launching. Now, you're never not launching. This is really daunting for people. They think that like they get to step into a season of launch and it's like, cool, I'm in launch for 2 weeks and then I get to put my feet up and take a break. That is not true. When you're in business, you are in launch 365 days a year. It just depends on what phase of launch you're in. You might be in a pre-launch phase where you're testing your messaging because it's for a new offer and you're really tweaking and refining the messaging. You might be in the actual launch phase where you're like, come to the masterclass. It's free. We're hosting the masterclass. Get people in. Or you might be in the doors open phase of that part of launch where now they came to the masterclass, they came to the free thing, they read the emails, the doors are open, you have 4 more days to enroll, here's a bunch of bonuses, here's the incentive, I'm doing sales calls. Or maybe you're in like the post-launch phase where you're like, okay, we just closed the doors and now I'm onboarding new clients and now my content's shifting a little bit and I'm telling more case studies and stories of people who joined us and the objections they had to come over. And now I'm gonna let my audience breathe for a second. I'm gonna bring them back into the nurture phase of I have to nurture them. I have to make sure that I understand them, and I'm going to start working on my messaging again. So there cannot be a too long. There could be there could be a too short if your audience isn't warm enough, if you haven't done the market research, if you're not testing the messaging, and you just come out of the blue and you're like, yay, doors are open for a course you've never heard me talk about. That's likely going to fall flat. So we want to make sure we have enough runway, like a plane taking off from the ground. If it's a home driveway, a short 20-foot driveway, the plane isn't going to be able to take off. It needs a longer runway to get the speed up so that it can actually take off. So that's all of what you're doing when you're kind of in launch. Now, when it comes to the actual course, you said something that makes me really, really, really happy. You said, I didn't build it yet. I didn't create it yet. And I'm like, good, you shouldn't. The biggest mistake that coaches and course creators are making is that they're building their courses before they sell them. They're spending all of this time putting together the curriculum and making PDFs and filming videos and trying to edit videos, and they're putting them into drives and signing up for platforms, and they haven't sold it yet. And then they turn around and they try to sell it. And now they're, number one, selling it from a place of desperation because they spent all this time, energy, and potentially money building it. So there's a desperate energy of like, I have to sell it. I need to make money. I got to get people in here. And there's an underlying frustration that comes with it of I've put all this work into it. And then what usually happens, I'm not saying you, I'm saying usually, I've worked with thousands of clients. I know this at this point. The messaging that we have accidentally shifts. And instead of talking about the transformation and the perceived value of that transformation, we start to just talk about how good it is because we put so much work into it. And it's the only thing we can think about because there's like a resentment that comes up of like, I spent all this time and all these hours putting it in. And we start talking about it, thinking that that's the thing that's going to get people to buy. So then we start selling the fact that there's 27 videos and there's 45 modules and there's 170 hours worth of stuff they're going to have to work on. And then we're selling the vehicle and we're not selling the transformation. And people are like, that sounds awful. That sounds terrible. I have a pain and you want me to do more work? No, 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 no. I just want you to solve my pain. And so all of this happens when we create the course first. And then if it does fall flat and we don't make any sales, then most people throw their hands up and they say, this industry doesn't work. And it's like, no, 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 no. You just didn't work it the right way. So don't create anything. What you do want to do is you want to create the messaging. You want to create an offer. An offer is not your product. If you came to DBE Live, you saw that. So the product is the water bottle, but the offer was the way I spoke about it. It was unicorn tears. It's shaman blessed. It came from Machu Picchu. It's the best damn water you'll ever have. It's going to hydrate you. It's going to quench your thirst. It's going to take away the fine lines and wrinkles. It's going to make your hair shinier. The offer is how I speak about the thing, but it's not the actual thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So when you're talking about a course, I want you to think about it like Kickstarter or like Indiegogo, right? One of those platforms where it's like they create a video. If you're not familiar with these platforms, they're crowdsourcing, they're crowdfunding. And so it's like literally if I were a small business and I was creating this water bottle, I don't have the money to make these water bottles. I don't have the overhead, the capital. I might not have the connections. I might not have a warehouse or a factory to make them. So what I do is I create a campaign on something like Kickstarter, and I could have a prototype. I can have like one water bottle with me, but I create a campaign around the prototype and my idea for this water bottle and how there's this sexy curve in the middle, which isn't just to look cute, but it's really ergonomic because now it doesn't fall out of my hand. There's this really cute carrying thing that I can clip a carabiner onto. There's a lock here, so the water bottle isn't just open all willy-nilly. I could push the button and there's a flap so that it keeps it really clean. That way I'm not getting germs on my water bottle. It acts like a straw, but I don't actually have to suck it up like a straw. And I'm going to create this whole campaign around my offer. And then if people dig it and they're like, yeah, that water bottle is cool, they put money into my fund. This is real. I'm not like joking, right? So Kickstarter, this is how it works. They put money into the fund and they say, I want to back that product. So I'm going to pay the $35 for that water bottle. And if you, the business owner, hit your goal of, let's say, $1,000, then the product is actually going to physically get made because you get to take the $1,000, give it to the factory, and they're going to make 20 water bottles or whatever, 50 water bottles. And then you're going to mail it to me. Has anyone been a part of a Kickstarter or Indiegogo? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. This is the exact same thing. So you're going to create an offer, you're going to present a case for this amazing thing that you're thinking up, this transformation that's going to solve this problem for this person who's struggling with this thing. And yeah, you should know slightly what it's going to look like. Are there live coaching calls? Is it going to be like 8 weeks long? Is it 12 weeks? Is it something they can just do by themselves? Is it an ebook? So you want to have some details, but you don't need all the details because we're not selling the details. We're not selling the how, we're selling the what. So when you're thinking about it, the messaging is unfolding as you are talking about it. As you're creating the offer, the messaging is getting more clear. The offer is becoming more clear. And then the launch itself is you literally just saying, now it's here. So the thing that I've been telling you that I'm working on, I'm creating, I've been building hype for, now it's here. You have 7 days to make a decision. And whether that's because you have a sales page or because you're doing sales calls, you tell them to DM you, you just send emails, like whatever the process is that you want. Now you're actually getting people on the phone, getting them enrolled. And the second that the first person pays you, then you actually start to create it. So the very first time that you run a group of people through, whether it's 1 person, 4 people, 20 people, you're actually going to create the course or the program live, meaning you're going to stay 1 to 2 weeks ahead of where they are. On the back end, you're creating the next video, the next thing, the next module, and you're really allowing them to help guide the pace and the speed. And that's the same thing, the pace and the direction. I'm sorry. Because a lot of times we also think like we map out this whole course and we're like, ha ha ha, this is it. This is the one. And then we start to take people through it and they're actually like, wait a minute. I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, what do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? We're going to go on to chapter 4. And they're like, no, I'm not ready for chapter 4 yet. And so you might have to slow down, or you might have to actually do chapter 6 before you do 4, because they actually needed that information first. So don't create it yet.
Yeah,
No.
that makes total sense.
Perfect.
Was that,
Thank
did I
you.
answer your question?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much. You're always
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for you. And the only thing I would say is start.
Yeah.
There's no, Melissa said it too, like no brainstorming. There's no brainstorming. You went through something in your life, likely, that you created a transformation in yourself, and now you want to help other people. Or it's your career that you've been helping people in this particular transformation. So if there are people out there who need you, and they're literally looking for you, they're looking for someone to help with the thing that you help with. If you don't just start sharing about it, you're stealing, you're robbing from people. You're taking the opportunity away from them to have a transformation, because we're worried. I'm not saying you, I'm saying collective, because we're worried about, is it too long? Is it too short? Is the messaging right? Do I look stupid? Do I have to buy a ring light and reels, and I don't have a website? And it's like, that's not true. You know?
Seriously, we've had exactly the ring light conversation.
You know what the best ring light is? The best ring light is a window.
Yeah. Fucking window, yeah.
That's it. Unless you're in Seattle or London, because it rains a lot.
Well, we are in England.
Yes, seriously, it's raining right now.
Yeah. But really, there's no brainstorming. The brainstorming is the action, right? Like, clarity comes from contrast. We don't know that we don't like olives until we taste olives. So we have to take action and taste the olive for us to know that we don't like the olive. You're not going to know if the messaging is or is not working unless you put it out into the world. So we have to put the content out, put the email out. Like, you'll get the feedback. You'll see if people are, whether it's liking, sharing, commenting, DMing you. There's a lot of different variables that we can take into account when we're looking at, like, is it working? But it's not working is when we sit in our living rooms, like, just not ready yet. It's not perfect yet. You know what I mean? And so
what are we going to call it?
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to call it? What are we going to call it? Our program Empower that I've spoken about a bunch. It's the meat and potatoes of our business. It's the core. It's our signature product. We're coming up on almost 6 years. 6 years of running Empower. We've had 1,000 students go through it live. We're on our 19th. We only run it once a year now. Run it 19th live round. It's called Empower. It's literally the worst name for a course. Like, it should have been called, like, digital course creator, like how to create an online course. Like, that's what it should have been called. It's called Empower. And the reason that it's called Empower was because when I was selling it, it didn't have a name. It is perfect because it really does empower people, but, like, it doesn't say what it is. So for anyone on the call who doesn't know what it is, you're like, oh, it's kind of sounds like a mindset program. It's not. It's a full-blown A to Z business program. The reason it's called Empower is because I was on probably call number 6, 7 of the first round that I was running with real humans in it. Like, real humans were part of this and they had paid me. And we're on our, like, week 7 is my guess, if I could recall. And I'm doing a live call and I'm showing them live, because there was no portal when I started. There was no video modules. Like, I just live coached them and turned that into the portal. And then the next round redid them. And then the next round redid them until they turned out to what they are today. And we're on a call and I'm showing them how to change the cover photo of the Facebook group. Because I was, you want to have a private Facebook group for your clients. This is 7 years ago. Like, that's what everyone did. There was no other apps that people were using. So you got your clients and then the videos, and then you want to have the private Facebook group where you communicate them, and make sure you change the cover photo. So you're going to go into Canva and you're going to create a cover photo, and you're going to put the logo or the name of your program right at the top of that cover photo, pop that bad boy up into Facebook. And as I'm doing this live on a call, I was like, well, this program doesn't have a name, so we're just going to call it Empower University. And that's what I said. And I created the logo on the live call. It wasn't a logo. I just wrote the words Empower University, popped it into the Facebook group, and 7 years later, here we are.
Yes.
So don't do that, but, like, but do that. You know what I mean? Like, usually it's just, I could have sat with it.
Kind of what you're saying is that it sort of doesn't matter what you call it.
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't.
We've got Q and we've got literally a description as options.
Swinging wildly, aren't you?
What I would say though is, like, now knowing what I know, being here today, like, if I could go back, or when I work with my clients, I would say something that's more descriptive is better. The reason that we haven't changed Empower to be more descriptive is because it has legs. People know what it is. People ask me for it. It's our signature program. It's been around, like I said, almost 7 years. So it's like, it has legs to stand on. If we were to change it now, not that people would not know where to find me or they'd get confused, it would just kind of, it could be more, for me at this point, it could be more detrimental if we change the name. We did drop the word university because here in the States, you're actually not allowed to use University Academy Institute. So fun fact for all of you, you can't actually use University Institute or Academy. When I found that out years later, I think it was probably 2 or 3 years into the program, they said, when I found that out, I was like, okay, I dropped the word university and we just kind of left it as Empower. Would I have gotten taken down by like the government? No, I don't think I would have gotten in trouble. There's thousands of courses on the internet that are called like Nutrition Academy. Like, you're not allowed to say that, but no one's getting in trouble for it. So I just would play in the camp of like, I'd rather just stay on the safe side, drop the word university and move on with my life. But if I were to go back, I wouldn't have named it Empower.
Right.
Because it doesn't say what it is.
I really like it.
Yeah, but it doesn't say what it is.
Yeah.
So cool. Let's see if we can get these last 2.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Of
you.
course. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.